Parents support a child's future by giving them the skills they need to survive. Dear Ian, my son is 16 and has no interest in college. Most of his friends are talking about universities, careers, and future plans. My son isn't. He enjoys working with his hands, talks about learning a trade, and seems completely unbothered by the path that everyone else is taking. If I'm honest, I think I'm the one who's struggling with it. I want him to have opportunities and financial stability. At the same time, I don't want my fears to become his burden. How do parents support a child's future when it looks very different from the future they imagined for them? Uncertain Daniel. Uncertain Daniel, look around. Everywhere I go, if I'm traveling a state route, I will see signs for welder, tradesman, electrician, plumber, wanted. Your son's interest in a trade is well-founded, frankly. There's a lot of interest in trades, and it's good, stable work. There's not this huge fluctuation of people needing and then all of a sudden not needing plumbers. We're building more houses, we've got more people living in houses, and we need more plumbing. We need more electricians. We need more welding done. All of that's very real. That stuff's always going to be there and always going to be useful. My grandfather had an oil business where he would provide heating oil for families in the area and worked it into multi-million-dollar valuation and sold it off. It was huge. It was great. A couple decades after that, his youngest sons got back into it because they see how valuable it is. And all went to their various sort of areas of interest and came back together to build Harrington Oil. There's just no shortage of demand for it. I think if you take an honest assessment of what's happening out there and what the needs are, your son's headed down a very sure path, a very secure path, and if he enjoys working with his hands, there's always going to be room for folks in this economy to do this work and to do well in doing this work. Plumbers, electricians, painters in high demand, contractors of all varieties. So we'll set the trade piece aside. What is it that's happening with you? Or what were you taught, or what are you continuing to believe that makes your son's pursuit of what feels right for them troubling and concerning, uncertain, as you say? You know, and I'm sure it has everything to do with what you were told growing up, the same stuff that I was. You need to go to college in order to really sort of elevate yourself from a social economic standpoint. I don't know if all of that is true anymore. I don't think it's as certain as we would hope. I think this is a special time in history where artificial intelligence and the technologies that we've created are showing us that we don't need to be doing X and Y and Z anymore. And so it's created a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion in what are typically thought of as graduate level roles. What does that mean? I don't know. That stuff's going to shake out. But what it means isn't certain right now. And that's the point. Just because his friends are going to college doesn't mean that that's the right path for them. Look, there is no clear path to where do you want them to go. And so I think there are things, Daniel, that you're uncertain about yourself as you identify, and they really deserve re-examination. There might be a place where you can just say, look, buddy, I'm excited for what the future holds for you. It seems like you've imbued your son with a voice, with a work ethic, with a sense of himself. That's going to carry him much further than any degree following the path that you had mapped out in your imagination for him would. Each of us has to follow our own path. You know that's true. And here you've imbued a 16-year-old with already a sense of that. What a gift. I'll get very pointedly to your question. How do parents support a child's future when it looks very different from the future they imagined for them? Let go of what you imagined for them, because I know that your son has already transcended your imagination. He's got to walk his own path. He's got to fall down and get himself up without you being there. He's got to learn his own lessons. There are lessons that you can only learn through experience. You know this, you've lived it. We all have. But the traits that you are telling me that you have imbued in your son, a sense of self, no need to conform to what others are doing, curiosity, an ability to use his hands, a desire to provide a service, these are all critical things that you should be very, very proud of yourself for having a son already imbued with. Parents support a child's future by giving them the skills they need to survive. Not all the ego stuff, not all the Instagram stuff, just the skills they need to survive. A work ethic, a curiosity, a desire for joy, sense of love, be able to express and find their own voice. You've done a great job. Celebrate it. Let him know that you were struggling with this vision of what you had for his future and that you're letting it go. And you can then stand in security in that mentor role now. You're no longer going to be a director in his life, especially once he becomes an adult. You'll be a mentor. You'll be someone your son can come to ask questions. And I would hesitate to give them money. I hesitate to, encourage folks to pay for their kids' college. The kid has to be on the hook. If the kid's on the hook, they're going to take it seriously. If the kid messes up, they own that mistake. That was the case for me. I emancipated, and there was no daddy's going to pay your college tuition. If you have the means to help settle that debt after your son has completed whatever line of study, maybe he goes off to a trade school, great. Then you have that conversation. Then you see how much it means to them. Then they get to know how long it would take to pay you back at certain rates, if that's what the arrangement's going to be. But you get to make that choice as opposed to saying, I owe you this level of education. I don't think you do. And even if you do, let's make sure that it's owned completely by our children so that they take it seriously, so that they handle this very adult responsibility like adults.